I suppose in terms of the chapel, the architects have taken a kind of very simple brief, which is just to make a small place of worship and a small place of celebrating marriages and so on and so forth, but actually turn that into a kind of very willful theatrical piece of sculpture in a stunning landscape, and try to make it a kind of faux boulder, which I suppose intellectually you could critique quite hard, but they've just carried it off with such sort of bravura kind of skill that actually I find it just compelling, and that sort of tends to sweep away the kind of uncertainties that perhaps a more rigorous intellectual analysis might create.
Well, this space, being a spiritual space, obviously, has some strong relationship with nature, which is so important today in religion, which is strong.
I mean, I agree entirely about the chapel. When I first saw it, I thought that I was quite surprised they hadn't done more of an actual boulder shape. They hadn't sort of smoothed it off. You know, they did this because all the boulders are time washed and therefore softened. You know, maybe this will become that way.
It has a complexity that's important in the Civic building. It melds very nicely the community uses, the community art form, which is obviously really interesting. The community art form is visually exciting, and the building doesn't compete with that, but it has a really beautiful and lovely facade with a depth to it that you don't often see. And I think that the mixing of the community rooms upstairs, that there are some private study rooms and this little theatre, works really nicely with the big displays of these bright illuminated colours.
I feel I can sort of grasp it. I can understand it. The material we're given is very, you know, it's full. You can see it being built. You can see the exhibits from it. My trouble is I really want to go and see things with my eyes and experience them to really know, you know. But I just love this idea of the shield, the screen, sort of bending to open, let you in. I love although we've been criticising red, I think this is a really good use of red.
Small scale project, but very well executed. I think the concept is good, sits on the site well, it seems to be well worked out, the spaces, and materials are very simple in that sort of Portuguese Alvaro-Cisa or Soto de Moron type of language. I think it's well conceived and, you know, modest but very successful project. I would say it should place high on the list.
I think there's a really positive strength to the Invisible Pier Museum in that it's sort of anti-monumentality of museums, and it really tries to kind of create something that's intimate and within its landscape. I think there's something very special about a building that doesn't try to stick its head too far above the parapet as an architectural form, but actually its like iconic status comes from the experience of delving into it. A really beautiful piece where you move down into the building and are met by some incredible kind of underground seascape, and there's a gentleness and intimacy about that I think will be very warming experience.
I think Kengo Kuma's V&A Diamond Dayscape has an incredible poetry between being a really coherent piece of architecture and sort of contribution to the landscape, and how it works both in relationship to sort of the surrounding hills as well as sort of piece within the water and the waterfront. I think this image, you sort of see these structures emerging out of a part of the sea, just is magical, and you can see it working as sort of an urban space as well as a space and real destination to go and visit. And you know, an image like this, just the first thing you want to go, just go and to see it, to feel the materiality of it, see how the light moves, sort of complexity of spaces. It's just really, really incredible.